It's Wake Up Wyoming with Glenn Woods.
It was a really nice weekend. I hope you had a good one with it. I certainly did. It's Monday, so rinse and repeat. Here we go again.
Today's show is sponsored by Muskrat Fur Leg Warmers. Their fur, their leg warmers, they are nasty.
And just stupid for that. Why would that? Okay, well.
Warning, this show contains reference to guns, liberty, limited government, low taxation, the cult of climate change, free thinking, cigar smoking, short people, rubber chickens, Karen's bureaucracy, liberal buzzwords, tour runs, traffic, toilets, terrible jokes, and more. No apologies will be issued. Guest callers may express any opinion they want without fear of being canceled. Unless you're a loudmouth jerk like Dave, then Glenn will hang up on you. Strap in, hold on to your coffee, and feel free to participate.
This disclaimer does not refer to every person named Dave, just one particular Dave from San Francisco. We know a lot of Daves. They call this show all the time, and they're great people. So don't call this program and complain that we use your name. That would be a real Dave move, Dave.
Lots of news today and some serious stuff that we're going to talk about as well. But hold on. Before I get to any of that, let's just do something really weird here. A lot of talk about AI technology these days, right? Okay, so if you've been online and you've been on social media, from time to time you're talking to some kind of a bot, which is basically some kind of an artificial intelligence thing that will try to get you into a conversation. Never understood. I guess maybe they're trying to sell you something. I don't know how that works, but all right. Some people use artificial intelligence to look, it's like a dating app. But some people, get a load of this, use artificial intelligence for the other side of that dating app. And here's the results.
The dating world is evolving. It used to be you had to meet people in person. Then came the internet, and you could meet people virtually. And now comes artificial intelligence, where your AI concierge could soon do it all for you. Your AI bot could meet other AI bots on your behalf to find your best match. That's according to Bumble's founder.
There is a world where your dating concierge could go on dates for you with other dating concierge. No, truly. And then you don't have to talk to 600 people. It will go scan all of San Francisco for you and say, these are the 3 people you really ought to meet.
Bumble dominates in the dating app space, being the second most downloaded behind Tinder. But dating apps across the board have seen a significant drop in stock since the pandemic. Bumble's shares are down 80% compared to 2021. Dating apps are reinventing the space to attract more people because right now 80% of app users say they often feel emotionally, mentally, or physically exhausted by dating apps. That's according to a new Forbes survey. To address this app fatigue, Bumble is rolling out a new plan. Since its origin in 2014, Bumble's biggest difference from its competitors was allowing women to make the first move and send the first message, which means men wanting to message women had to wait for a woman to show interest first. Now, that's changed, and anyone can start up the conversation. Bumble is also making that part of the process easier for its users, including AI-generated messages to send new matches. For now, the AI-generated concierge is just a concept. But an example...
Okay, so she goes on for a while. You get the idea, right? So, okay, you want a date. That's such a hassle. I mean, first off, and then think about the days when, if you were the kind of person who went to bars or someplace like that to meet people, which I never did. But imagine you see that person you want to talk to them. You got to work up your nerve. What are you going to say? How are you going to act? Worried about every little thing. But you walk up and you make your move, right? Well, we can't do that anymore. Instead, we'll have some artificial intelligence go ahead and contact that person for you. But that person's afraid to answer back. So they have their own artificial intelligence to answer back. And the two bots will talk to each other to decide if the two humans should meet. If they do, though, however, the two humans never had an actual conversation, did they? So how is this going to work out when they finally sit down for the first time and actually have a real conversation without their bots? This is just a horribly stupid idea and shows you how absolutely messed up it's become out there. Look, dating was never really an easy thing. I mean, let's go back in time to way back, to when you didn't choose who you were going to marry. It was set up for you. There was a time. It was not about love and romance. Marriages were arranged. And if you didn't get along with your spouse, well, you better work it out because that's who you're going to be with. And marriages were arranged for all sorts of convenience sake. Then we got to the point where it's love, it's romance. But now we have to meet people, and that's very difficult to do. And again, especially meet someone, start up a conversation, and if we can, even build a relationship with someone. So difficult to do. And what you read in romance novels and what you see on, no, I don't read romance novels, and what you see in Hollywood movies and so on is completely unrealistic. I've often heard women ask, because they'll go watch a chick flick, and afterwards, why can't we meet guys like that? Because it's a chick flick. Okay, it's nonsense. It's a chick flick. That's not the real world out there. Well, now the real world is becoming even less real if you are on your phone using an app, and the app, okay, we'll take it from the guy's point of view. The app is looking for men or for women for you. For women, the app is looking for men for you. And then when they meet, they're talking to the other app. And then you just sit back and watch and wait as the two apps have a conversation with each other based on information that you put in about yourself. And then the two apps decide if you two should maybe meet. Now, again, it's really going to be awkward when you have to actually put the app down and have that first conversation. When you actually have to meet the person in person in order to do that. There's a lot of dumb ways that people meet. Those who are interested in getting into relationships. One of the worst I ever heard of was speed dating. You go to a party and people sit down with each other for there's a timer. And they just switch tables every, 30 seconds, minute, whatever. And that's speed dating, to try to get through as many people as possible to find out who you might be interested in. That was a horrible idea. I also often thought that people going to bars was probably the worst idea when it came to dating. As many horrible ideas as I've seen out there for dating, this has got to be the worst in the history of bad ideas. But, okay, here we go into the world of artificial intelligence. Fire Pit Paul. Next, the bots conspire to keep the two applicants apart so the bots can start dating. I wonder about that. Paul, I want you to imagine the two people go on the date together, but they don't know what to say to each other. So they just put their phones next to each other and let the phones have the conversation while they eat. Rhiannon for Danger. Morning, Glenn. This is getting ridiculous. Our future is doomed, man. Yeah, I'd say it just about it. Because all social skills are out the window at this point. If we're doing this, nobody has to build social skills anymore. And social skills are bad enough as they are.
Is your life boring? Are you too young for a midlife crisis, but tired of waiting for something to trigger an existential crisis? Why not try generalized anxiety disorder? Make every day a crisis.
Yep, there you have it. A new level of crazy. And you heard it here first. This program is intended for immature audiences only. Wake Up Wyoming with Glenn Woods. Weekdays at 6 on air, on Alexa, and 24/7 on the Wake Up Wyoming app.
6:22 is the time. It's Wake Up Wyoming on a Monday. All right, so University of Wyoming, I've been complaining for quite a few years. I'd love to see the University of Wyoming just close its diversity, equity, and inclusion office. Save that money. Well, okay, so here comes our Wyoming legislative body who defunded that, but the governor half line item vetoed it. He doesn't want to get rid of some programs because he's afraid of you losing federal money. Well, we'll see what can be done about that. Meantime, UW is trying to figure out what to do with this because they would like to keep that office. Well, here's what's happening now. from Wildfile. Have to be careful because Wildfile can be very biased. But I'll read through the article anyway. University of Wyoming is closing its Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. And the staff will be reassigned, and many of its programs will continue. So that, does it sound like they're really getting rid? Okay. This is what I worry about is, are they just going to rename it? Because this has happened at other universities where the state has closed DEI offices at universities across the country. And all the university did was just rebrand it. So to read that again, they're closing the Office of Diversity, Equity, Inclusion. The staff will be reassigned. That doesn't sound like they're getting rid of anybody. And many of the programs will continue. The school board trustee backed the President Ed Seidel's recommendation Friday to close the office, saying they were put in an impossible situation. Well, no, they weren't, but okay. UW's largest funder, the state of Wyoming, the cut for the university block grant forbade them from spending it on DEI offices. In addition to closing the office and reassigning staff, Seidel said the university will create a vice provost for faculty, staff, and student access, opportunity, and well-being. Hold on. A vice president for faculty, staff, and student access or opportunity of well-being. Boy, that's a mouthful. The position will help transition the program under the DEI office to new university units. See, again, it doesn't sound like they're really getting rid of it. It sounds like they're reassigning it. And the programs that are either required to key UW community success will be maintained, Seidel said, including but not limited to academic freedom, research freedom, compliance with federal laws, including the American with Disabilities Act, and he talks about different titles, Native American Affairs, the Shepherd Symposium, and others. In a press release, he added the university will seek out private funding for these programs deemed essential to help students, like the Latina Youth Conference and women's STEM activities. All of those, I think, should be private anyway. I mean, if they want to be at the university, okay, but those should be private programs, not part of the university. The legislature's decision, the story says, and the University of Wyoming's subsequent conversations about their response prompted widespread discussion both in previous and broad meetings and in other public comments. Seidel's noted this is in the statement. He released it on Friday. He said, what can I say is that what I can say is that we're moving forward the best we can to meet expectations with officials and the people of Wyoming to continue serving our students and communities. That is a non-statement statement. That really doesn't say anything. He released a statement that didn't really say anything. UW leaders considered 5 options, and I talked about those 5 options. And some of those options were keep it, but just rename it. As far as employment practices beyond DEI office, university is also changing employment practices effective immediately. Quote, we will not allow units of UW to require job candidates to submit statements regarding diversity, equity, and inclusion. I didn't know they were doing that. I had read where other universities around the country were doing that. But if somebody is applying for the job, any job at the university, especially if they're going to be a professor, but some job at the university, as part of their application process, they would have to submit statements regarding diversity, equity, and inclusion. Quote, we will not have a requirement for employees to be evaluated on components of diversity, equity, and inclusion in the performance of evaluation process. These actions reaffirm UW's commitment to merit-based employment practices. In other words, and this is what I've said before when it comes to this, you want a job here? That's fine. We'll go ahead and let's talk about a job here. What I care about is that you show up on time and you perform your duties. Okay. Now, I really don't care what you do with your personal life and keep your opinions to yourself. Just show up and do your job. There you go. We're not virtue signaling here, and your private opinions are your private opinions, as are mine. Seidel also plans to look into other practices listed in the working group report to ensure UW doesn't encourage preferential treatment. Part of the problem is DEI did encourage preferential treatment. That includes admission practices, speakers at the university, recruitment, retention, scholarship awards, assistance. So some progress has been made anyway. He said, I am committed to maintaining and enhancing a campus community that promotes success for all, and I encourage all of us to lean into this next chapter for our university. Again, a non-statement statement is what he just released there. In prior board meetings, trustees and students and staff and others discussed the meaning of DEI. Both opponents and proponents want to see, everybody pretty much wanted to see it eliminated from UW itself. So we'll see how this finally works out. But again, to me, at this point, we'll see, but at this point, it looks like a reshuffling with a little bit of progress toward what I would like to see. Just get on with the business of teaching and get away from this other nonsense. Just focus on teaching students so when they get out in the real world, they can face real job prospects with a real education. Focus on that. Coming up on Local Business, News Time, update on your weather forecast. After that, you and I get back into 888-97 Woods, the phone number. That's 888-97 WOODS. Wake Up Wyoming.
Like a strong cup of coffee in the morning. Tasteless, but it'll get you through the day. Wake Up Wyoming with Glenn Woods.
6:36 at times. Wake Up Wyoming. All right, 888-97 Woods, the phone number, 888-97 WOODS. There are already a few people texted me off the Wake Up Wyoming app by using the chat button. So, okay, we've talked about the United States Postal Service wanting to cut back in order to save money, and that would mean no distribution centers in Wyoming. All mail would go out of state, get sorted, come all the way back into state. Somehow this saves money, right? All right. Now here comes UPS, of all people. Kindness Ranch in Hartville, the story says, has been long relying on speedy delivery thanks to Amazon Prime and UPS, which have partners together. This according to Cowboy State Daily. But those deliveries won't be as speedy. Kindness Ranch and others who live in the remote areas of southeast Wyoming. Kindness Ranch and the owner told Cowboy State Daily they discovered that UPS will no longer be making daily deliveries. Yeah, we watch tracking and shipping times because it's how they gauge what they last ordered, and they take care of animals. And at times that means medication. With 100 or so animals at any given time, they depend on timely deliveries of food and other supplies. So UPS never mentioned the changes. They're just not delivering as often. So they kept tabs on tracking information with a bit of anxiety and realized what they saw is a laptop they had arrived in Cheyenne on Saturday. Oh, cool. We'll be here Monday. I can go to the airport or hop on my flight or something like that. But he waited around all day for the laptop to arrive but never did. He went back to check tracking information and it showed up delayed. So he went to UPS website and he chatted. Well, of course, it's a chat bot. It's not a human being. Like that dating thing I was telling you about earlier. And it claimed that the delivery had been attempted but nobody was home, which is nonsense. So that made him a bit mad. He knew it wasn't true. Like, well, no, you didn't. You didn't do that. So only when he told UPS, only delivering a Hartford, he finally got a hold of someone. He got a hold of a human being. And they said, well, we've cut back deliveries to your area. It's not just his area, but other areas as well around the state of Wyoming. UPS has decided, and it's mostly just really rural areas. They're just going ahead and cutting back on this. So, okay, I look at it as, here once again, it's a business decision with UPS. The U.S. Postal Service is supposed to be in part taxpayer funded, but it's also supposed to work like a business. So we don't have to really fund and constantly bail out the post office. Post office is deeply in debt, massively in debt. Now, for people who do live way out in the middle of nowhere in places like Wyoming, I always did look at it and think, well, your mail's going to get delayed. I know you're used to it being faster, and your packages from UPS and FedEx and so on won't always be timely either because you live out in the middle of nowhere. Back in the 80s, I've told you my family's got a cabin up in the Carolina mountains, and I needed to overnight a package. And I went looking for a place to do that, and nobody could. Nobody would. Everybody, whether it was something like UPS or the Postal Service, they all said the same thing. It is impossible to overnight a package out of here. We're way up in the mountains of the Carolinas. If you need things overnighted, you need to live someplace that has overnight abilities, and you need to be overnighting it to someplace who can receive overnights. And that's not going to be everywhere. So, yeah, I think that's the inconvenience of, nobody likes to hear this, but the inconvenience of living in a very rural area. And Hartville, as you know, is extremely rural, if you know where that is, which, it takes a while to get there. So, no, you're not going to get. Here's what got me, though. I know someone who recently ordered something, and this is Postal Service, I think, and the item went all the way to Denver, then went to California, then back to Colorado, then some other state, then back to Colorado, and then into Wyoming to get delivered. And we were both scratching our heads wondering, why did they do all that? That wasn't very efficient. So I think in part, besides, I know rural is going, okay, we have to get used to the idea. Rural is tough to get to, and when cutbacks are made, that's the first place they make cutbacks. On the other hand, though, what was that mess of posting it all over the place before it finally, how come it couldn't take a more direct route? In that case, both the Postal Service and UPS and FedEx and so on need to sit down and rethink a little bit about how they're doing this to make the most efficient routes possible. Because right now I think they're sort of flunking at it. When I see packages go through that kind of routing, you ever try to get an airplane flight somewhere and they want to route you through like 4 different airports to take something that should be direct? Makes me wonder sometimes.
Is 4 a lot? Well, it depends on the context. Dollars? No. Murders? Yes.
Well, that image is going to stick with you all day. This show contains sarcasm that some listeners may find disturbing. A sense of humor is advised. Chat with Glenn live on the Wake Up Wyoming app.
Time is 6:48. Off we go to the icebox. Frank Gambino waiting by. Good weekend, Frank?
It was busy. We had coaches at UW coming and going. We had high school athletics all over the place, and the weather was decent.
Okay,
really good. I mean, all 3 days.
Not bad.
No matter where I went, it was good. I couldn't. We all looked at each other, going,
"Yeah,
really,
really? Okay." See, that sounds like a great weekend. Okay, I'm going to do something that's going to combine. It's just going to drive you completely bonkers. But I mean, that's the point of this segment. I drive you crazy.
Yes, you do.
Okay. So now people, of course, started dating. Well, let's go back to the dating scene at bars when that became a thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That was bad enough, right? So then people started going to parties and stuff like that, dating parties. Yeah. There was even speed dating for a while.
Yeah. Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
And then online apps came along.
Well, swipe left, swipe right, whatever it is.
That kind of stuff, yeah. But then you actually have to engage someone in a conversation.
No, you don't want to do that.
Online. No, you don't. So someone made a program. There's an app out there where the app will search for what you want, what you put in there as what you're looking for. And if it comes across someone that might be desirable, it'll contact that person. You ever talk to an AI bot on social media?
Not really, and I don't really want to.
But that's what it does. It contacts the person, but it's an AI bot.
Okay.
But that's okay, because, I mean, the person may be too shy to answer back. So they have an AI bot that'll answer back. And the two AI bots will chat with each other to find out if the two are compatible. I'm serious. This is actually something that's being tried by a dating app. So the two bots actually converse with each other to figure out if the two are compatible or not. And at some point, I figure, though, they have to actually talk to each other, right?
Are you telling me that all of us down the road are going to have an AI proxy?
Yes.
To deal with our lives and then just recommend what we should be doing?
Yeah. I want to know, if we're doing this, at what point does the real relationship have to begin?
Let the AI things handle
that's right. Because now I imagine you sit down at the dinner table because you invited her to a nice restaurant. You slide your phone halfway across the table.
Yeah.
She slides her phone halfway across the table, and you let the bots do the talking while you two eat.
Right, yeah. Or you're asking for, like, advice, like, AI.
Yes.
I think she wants to marry me. What do I do?
Yeah, well, what if the bots just marry each other?
They can do then what? Then they have kid bots.
Yeah, then they get a divorce, and then who gets all the data? The court has to split the data up.
Oh,
this
God.
Really gets insane. But that's actually a thing that's being tried, Frank. I'm not kidding.
I like life the way it is. Well, it didn't take long for the Wyoming Cowboy men's basketball program to find a new head coach as they've hired Gillette, Wyoming native Sundance Wicks. He'll replace Jeff Linder, who's going to Texas Tech as an assistant coach, and Wicks was an assistant at UW under Linder for 3 seasons. Then Wicks went to Wisconsin Green Bay for their head coaching job and turned a Morrill program around with a record of 18-14. They had won just 3 games the season before that. And Wicks was a phenomenal prep athlete at Campbell County High School, winning 2 state championships in basketball, another one in football, and he was a state champion in the 300-meter hurdles event in track and field. Maybe Jeff Linder did Wyoming a favor by leaving for Texas Tech, and UW gets a native son who's been successful. Now, the real work begins as for Wicks, and that's recruiting. Linder signed 3 guys out of the portal, and with the change of coaches, those guys went right back into the portal. They could return to UW, but the Cowboys need players, and they need them now. In the NBA playoffs, the Denver Nuggets showed a lot of resolve as they evened their second-round playoff series with Minnesota 2 games apiece with a 115-107 win on the road last night. The Nuggets lost their first 2 games of the series at home and really got serious with Minnesota on the road with a 15-point lead at halftime in last night's game. Aaron Gordon had 27 for Denver, and league MVP Nikola Jokic had 35 points, 7 rebounds, and 7 assists. Game 5 will be in Denver tomorrow. High school track and field, the state meet will start on Thursday in Casper and run through Saturday. The 4A East regional meet was in Cheyenne over the weekend. Talia Morris of Cheyenne East won 3 events, the 100, 200, and the long jump. The Sheridan girls placed first with East 3rd, Laramie 4th, Natrona 4th, Laramie 5th, Cheyenne Central 6th, and Cheyenne South 8th. On the boys' side, Aiden O'Leary and Chance Morris of Sheridan won 2 events each as the Bronx placed first on the 4A East team standing. Cheyenne Central was 2nd, Natrona 3rd, Laramie 6th, Cheyenne East 7th, and Cheyenne South 8th. The 4A West regional track meet was in Rock Springs over the weekend. The Kelly Walsh girls took first in the team standings. Star Valley's Valerie Jurek won 3 events. She is a Duke University signee. Cody Boys placed first in that regional with Kelly Walsh 3rd. In the Stanley Cup playoffs in hockey, the Colorado Avalanche in a must-win situation tonight at home. They trailed Dallas 2-1. The Avs lost game 3 at home, 4-1, and also dropped game 2 in Dallas 5-3. So it's been a little bit of rough sledding for the Avalanche lately, and that's it in sports.
Okay, so you had a busy weekend, huh?
Yeah, we're all over the place. The weather was nice in Shoshone for a couple of track meets. It was nice in Wheatland. You know, worked in the office yesterday, played some golf yesterday. It was nice, you know.
Okay.
I just couldn't believe this.
I did not get a golf ball donation from you.
Well, no, I don't play over there sometimes. Oh. But you have enough golf balls. You don't need any more from me.
No. Well, not from you anyway.
You know.
But if you ever want to buy a bag, I don't.
I have my own. I searched for them myself.
Mine are slightly used and much cheaper.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, you save yourself a ton of money that way.
I think you need to have a garage sale or something.
You know, that's why I said I'm going to get one of those big, remember the big gumball machines? Yeah, but I'm going to fill it with golf balls and put it right out there.
Just make a big bucket and say, a buck a piece or whatever.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you, Frank. Coming up, a buck a piece. I'm going to clean up. Let's Wake Up Wyoming. 7:06 at the time. It's Wake Up Wyoming. Beautiful weekend. Monday, things are looking actually pretty good weather-wise. So, okay. I hate to bring it down. Let's talk more about the power company wanting to raise your rates yet again.
Today's show is sponsored by Muskrat Fur Leg Warmers. Their fur, their leg warmers, they are nasty.
And just the dumbest thing I've heard. Okay, we've talked about this before, but here's the latest on it because there's going to be a meeting This is County 17. The ever-increasing cost of electricity can squeeze Wyomingites in their monthly budget. The company, which serves about 144,000 customers in Wyoming, will host a series of workshops to explain this news, proposed electric rate hikes, and take questions and complaints, obviously, from customers. The company division of Warren Buffett's Pacific Corp recently filed a request to Wyoming Public Service Commission for a combined 16.5% increase, which would total across Wyoming about $116.3 million. Quote, we understand that price increase is never welcome news, so we want to meet with customers to answer their questions and share their financial conditions, concerns the company is facing. Recent price increases. Rocky Mountain Power Vice President for Wyoming, Sharon Fain, said in the statement, quote, Rocky Mountain Power in April filed for a 12.3% rate increase that, if approved, would tap the customers for a one-time $86.4 million due to higher than expected fuel costs. If Wyoming regulators approve the amount, the company's typical residential consumer experience would be about 9.3% increase, for about $12 more to the monthly bill beginning in July 1st and lasting for about 12 months. Let's not forget, put into this, you, the customer, are also going to have to pay for stuff like carbon capture. We have to put that in there. And also, basically, the Biden administration's war on coal and energy. But all right. In another request filed in April, so that's one we've talked about previously, Rocky Mountain Power seeks permission to cancel a ratepayer's credit derived from the then President Donald Trump era Tax Cuts and Job Act because it is set to expire, resulting in another 4.2% hike, or about $29.9 million. Now, the company's also expected to file another request, to increase its general rate for Wyoming customers. Wyoming Public Service Commission approved a 8.3% general hike increase for the company last year and allowed the company to tap ratepayers for a one-time cost of fuel adjustment. Company officials will discuss what's driving higher utility costs and provide information about state and federal payment assistance programs. Now, there's another thing I look at and I think, well, we have payment assistance programs from this. Okay, so now the taxpayers are on the hook to help some people pay this. Okay. Now, I do understand this part. I will give the power company credit for. Coal, natural gas, the prices fluctuate greatly. And if the prices are going up, well, they cannot just necessarily eat that cost. On the other hand, between the war on energy from the Biden administration, that drives up costs. There's a lot that goes into this. And yeah, nonsense like carbon sequestration and so on, that's something you have to pay for. And that's another one of those I would like to see the free market just leave it alone, government. Let the free market handle this. Get a lot of regulations out of the way. Which means, imagine if Biden were to get his way between the EPA and the BLM attacking energy. That's going to further increase energy rates. So if you think it's hard to deal with right now. Now, workshops. So today's the 13th. As far as I'm concerned, Monday the 13th is worse than any Friday the 13th. Because at least Friday the 13th, it's Friday. This is a Monday the 13th. It's far worse. So Monday the 13th, folks in Casper, 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. at the Casper Ramcota Hotel and Conference Center, 800 North Poplar Street. Tuesday, May 14th, 4 to 7 p.m. at the Laramie Holiday Inn in Laramie. Wednesday, that's May 15th. Again, all of these are 4 to 7 p.m. Rawlins Econo Lodge. Thursday, May 16th, Riverton Holiday Inn. And then Friday, May 17th, Rock Springs Sweetwater Event Complex, Pronghorn Room. May 28th, 4 to 7 p.m., they're all 4 to 7 p.m., in Cody, Holiday Inn, at Buffalo Bill Village. And So again, company officials will discuss what their problems are, and then they'll go ahead and take questions. And I would suppose a whole lot of griping is going to go on as well. And this is where I would like, on the one hand, I think it is important for the audience to hear it from the company's point of view. But on the other hand, I don't know, because I haven't seen what they're going to talk about. I would like the company to get into a little bit more, although I don't know. I wonder if they're afraid to say it. A little bit more about the Biden administration, the EPA, the BLM, carbon sequestration nonsense, and other things that drive up the cost of energy. Make it far more expensive. Because when you look at how much energy we have across America, not just here in the West, but across America, energy should really be cheap and affordable. It really should be. Very inexpensive to us. When you consider how much we have available, and we've gotten so good at producing energy from gas, and I mean as in your automobile gas, to natural gas, to electricity from coal and so on. This should all be extremely affordable to do, and prices should be really low. Okay. So when it does get this high, well, we can see, and oftentimes it's because people are meddling. But now, here's a couple of stories I have. Let's go to California real quick. One story, California will make everyone pay for electric vehicles whether they own one or not. And the second story is California's secret 50-cent gas tax hike coming in the next 2 years. Okay, so that's California's problem, I know, but these are also, you ever wonder why energy costs so much in a place like, this is why I bring California up so much. Why does energy cost so much in a state like California, but other parts of the country, it's way, 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 way less? I mean, if you complain about your electricity rates here in Wyoming and they want to go ahead and bring them up again, well, why is it so much more expensive in states like California, New York, places like that? And there, once again, is your government interference answer, is the answer to all of that. So this could be, if you let the free markets take over, it's not a perfect system. Nothing is. Nothing is. But your politicians keep promising you more affordable, more reliable energy. And you're getting the opposite of that. They also promise clean energy and green energy and sustainable energy. And it's none of that either. Which is why I'd like them the hell out of it and let the free market take over. And we can watch energy not just become more reliable again, but become more affordable again.
For I am a sinner in the hands of an angry God. Bloody Mary, full of vodka, blessed are you among cocktails. Pray for me now and at the hour of my death, which I hope is soon. Amen.
Yep, there you have it. A new level of crazy. And you heard it here first. Want to talk to Glenn? Call 888-97-WOODS or chat him on the Wake Up Wyoming mobile app. This is AM 1030 K2 Radio.
7:20 is the time. It's Wake Up Wyoming. It is a Monday. So, okay, I did mention, so first, if you just tuned in, yeah, your power company here in Wyoming, Rocky Mountain Power, they're going to have a series of meetings across Wyoming starting this week, all this week, because they want to raise rates again and they want to talk to you about it before they do it. Now, after I got done talking about that, here's a couple of stories because I pick on California for a reason. We should never follow their model. First headline, California's secret 50 cents gas tax is coming in the next couple of years. Story says a long-standing emission reduction program will lead to a 50-cent increase in gasoline prices in California, according to a little-known state air quality regulator report. So in September, California Air Resource Board, also known as, get a load of this, California Air Resource Board, CARB, state's primary environmental regulator, reported gas prices are going to rise. Again, on purpose, because they're trying to get clean air. The price increase does not include their existing gas tax in the state, A Republican senator, yes, there are a few Republicans left in California. One of the legislator's most critical tax hawks told Fox Digital secret tax increase would penalize the majority of California. And especially, she said, low and middle-class people who the Democrats say they want to protect, but that's who's really going to hurt. The report foresees gas prices increasing due to the low-carbon fuel standard reforms, likely raising, again, up to 52 cents. Diesel prices could climb by 60 cents. The Air Board staff later called the price projections incomplete. Oh, that's great. So what do we add to that? In a December report focusing instead on the cost of savings to drivers who transition to EVs. So this is yet another attempt to push people toward electric vehicles. The report comes as they finalize new rules. Again, laws written by bureaucrats last month mandated a rapid transition from petroleum-powered modes of transportation to what they wrongfully call zero-emission alternatives, which, as you know, are not zero emissions. And not just passenger cars, heavy-duty trucks, freight trains, harbor vessels, and so on. California is also phasing out new gas-powered cars, making it mandatory 100% electric vehicle sales by 2035. Nearly 20 other states have tried to adopt those rules as well. So, again, to clear up a little bit about the cars that they're talking about, it's got to be 100% electric car sales by 2035. That's new car sales. Okay, that's not. If you have a used car, you can still drive around. Go ahead. But the new car, all car lots have to be selling EVs by that time, which again is something I still look at as not enforceable. All right, next one. California will make everyone pay for EVs whether they own one or not. This is slightly different. Story says Californian Democrats, frustrated by many of their customers, no matter how much they plead, whine, cajole, people are simply not buying electric vehicles in the numbers the states wants to see. So the progress in getting charging stations up is way behind schedule. This is every bit as bad as them trying to build that bullet train. Way over budget and way under schedule. Not making it. Also, all of the electric power is being flushed into the system is expensive. Don't worry about that. Gavin Newsom and the Democrats have a plan to address all of this, so they say. In order to subsidize, here we go again, and California does not have the money to subsidize this. In order to subsidize the cost of electric vehicles and encourage more people to buy them, they're going to tack on a monthly subsidy charge to everyone's utility bills. Oh, so their electricity rates are about to go up. And that's to subsidize I was watching this was on public television during the course of the weekend. I came across a program where they claimed, we're going to tell you the truth about electricity, about electric vehicle sales. And they really didn't. And one of the things that they got wrong on there is, well, the price of electric vehicles keep going down. No, electric vehicle sales, well, they can't get them off the lot like they want to. So they're dropping prices so low, they're not going to make any money on this. Plus, the federal government and states like California are trying to up the subsidies. So, you heard me right. People who don't want or can't afford an electric vehicle will end up paying more for electricity, and that money will be used to subsidize electric vehicles. Story says millions of middle-class Californian households are poised to pay an extra $24 a month for electricity regardless of how much electricity they use. Regulators are hoping this utility billing policy will rescue their agenda to move everybody to an electric car and appliances as well by redistributing the massive costs of the state's electric grid so utilities can lower the usage rates. But critics say the income-based premium will likely further hike utility costs for millions of Californians. Again, especially the middle class and the poorer people who the Democrats always say that they're trying to protect. So keep in mind, California already pays some of the highest monthly energy bills in the country. You complain about your utility rates here in Wyoming, and it's bad, and we got to work to keep them low. Go look at California. And those rates keep going up for these reasons. Proponents are claiming the extra cost will go toward reducing the cost of electricity for low-income households per kilowatt hour. But that's not what's happening. That's just flat out a lie. Not everyone will be paying this premium, like the cutoff rate is quite low, they say. But again, it's not going to work out that way. All of this electrification is being pushed at a time when California's power grid is still existing on the edge during periods of high demand. And that's because they've tried going all wind and solar, and of course it's just not working out that way. As you know, we've been through that many times before. It's just absolutely not working out that way. They have to go back to gas, natural gas, and turn back on their nuclear plants. If they want to turn them off, they'll have to turn them back on again in order to produce enough power in order to be able to charge everything that they want to charge. Completely unrealistic and unaffordable.
Come and listen to my story about a man named Jed, a poor mountaineer, barely kept his family fed. Then one day he was shooting at some food, and up through the ground came a bubbling crude. Now he's a rich white guy living in Beverly Hills. Liberals, Botox, hypocrites, gun control. Well, the first thing you know, they tax his underwear. Kinfolk said, Jed, move away from there. Said, California is the place you need to leave. So they loaded up the truck and they moved to Tennessee. Low taxes, coal mines, and diesel trucks. Come visit. Set a spell. Take your shoes off. Y'all come back now, you hear?
So, coming up on some local business we have to take care of. Morning, Jude and DJ in Gillette. And DJ says California will look like Cuba soon. Yeah, that's about right. All right, coming up on some local news, after local news update on the weather forecast, and you and I get back into it again. Don Day, 745, with this mostly really nice weather forecast for most of Wyoming for this week. Temperatures go up and down a little bit. He'll explain 745. So wake up, Wyoming.
When so many opinions, we had to build the Wake Up Wyoming mobile app to hold them all. Free download from AM 1030 K2 Radio.
.36 at Times, Wake Up Wyoming. I got Don Day coming up in just a few minutes from now at 7:45. He'll talk about this week's weather, which overall is really nice. You know, there's some cooler days. There's some rain showers coming through, but overall, really nice. So our man in Cheyenne did a poll, which I thought interesting. Too bad he can't really put every possible answer there. But there is a place for you to write in another answer. So here's what Doug Randall wrote. Top issues facing Wyoming voters. Wyoming voters go to the poll in 2024 to vote on various issues, local, state, federal, and so on. For local state offices, other than middle school boards, the deadlines for candidates to file is the end of this month. So now's a good time to talk about what you think your biggest concerns are. Right. So here's the poll that he did. What is the top issue for Wyoming in 2024 elections? Whatever you think the top issue is. Now, I've got a list here I'm going to go through. And for me, I looked at it and I thought, that's all good. Can I add one? Yes, he put in other category. So for you, is it housing, gun rights, high property taxes, legalizing cannabis, keeping weed illegal, school funding, diversifying our economy? So I'm going to go ahead and pick one at random. Now, this is a non-scientific poll, just asking you out there, right? So, okay, high property taxes right now is the number one issue with about 33.5% of the vote. Diversifying our economy comes in number 2. Cannabis legalizing 3. Gun rights 4. Other is about 9%. Housing, then school funding, then keeping weed illegal is at the very last of all that. Now, again, that's a non-scientific poll. And for me, it never really is a one-issue thing. I've never been a one-issue voter. And I would hope that you're not either. Well, here come the candidates. Because, again, end of this month is when the candidates, that reminds me, I got to go just to double check. Are you registered to vote? Okay, remember, they have to purge the voting rolls every so often. If you didn't vote in the last election, for example, you might be part of the purge. They purge the voting rolls, people who died and people who moved away. And for those people who move away, some of them are dead to us anyway, so it's the same thing, right? All right, so which is it? Are you on the voter roll? Did you vote in the last election? Might want to check that out. And in part, this prevents people from jumping parties back and forth. So if today is the 13th, I believe you have until the 15th to make sure you're all registered to vote. This, in part, again, is to prevent people from jumping back and forth between parties during the primary time. That way you've chosen your party before, this is important, you've chosen your party before the candidates are all legally registered as candidates. That way you can't decide to jump the party, is the theory. Because there's somebody that you're going to vote for or try to keep out of office. Like there's people who didn't like a particular gubernatorial candidate, and so they jump political parties to try to keep them out so that guy wouldn't win the Republican primary. That's happened before, too. So keep that in mind. But then we really begin after the end of this month, after we know what candidates have filed, where they stand on various issues. And I've said to you before, for me, it's always just one question. I've narrowed it down to one question. If we hire you, if you get this gig, what are you going to do with it? What's your goal? What's your mission? And if they give me a long list of things that government needs to get done, I know this is not the person that I want. But instead, if they recognize that government is the problem, and we seriously need to cut back and turn things more over to the private sector, I'm more of the libertarian thinker, then this is the person I want to vote for. Because, government has not been the solution to our problems. So, okay, if you want to take the poll, that's something our man in Cheyenne, Doug Randall, put up to see. But that, again, are you a one issue voter? Some people are. I'm definitely, I've never been a one issue voter myself. I have a whole list of things. But I did find that one question is all I need to know from the candidate. So your results will vary depending on who you are and what's important to you. I understand that right now the property tax issue is number one in Wyoming. As far as gun rights go, we've pretty much secured those in the state of Wyoming, although we are still fighting over a few things. Those are pretty much secure in the state of Wyoming. We don't have to worry too much about that, which is why it wasn't the top of the list, I don't think.
Every year, you pass your birthday and celebrate it. However, every year, you also pass your death day and have no clue. You just keep living your life until it just ends.
What?
And now, the weather.
Whoa, wait.
Well, that image is going to stick with you all. Listen to Glenn Woods anywhere you roam with the Wake Up Wyoming mobile app. This is AM 1030 K2 Radio.
7:45 is the time. It's Wake Up Wyoming. On the line with me, Don Day from Day Weather. Don, everybody would like to thank you for this weekend. It was just glorious.
We deserved it after that week we had to go through.
Wow, yeah, okay. Now, when we get into this next week, I notice, the occasional shower passes over. Temperatures fluctuate a little bit, but nothing is in the zone of what I would call bad.
No, it's just very typical mid-May. A little bit of up and downs, as you just mentioned. And some shower and thunderstorm activity will move on through. We want that, though. We want to get that spring moisture. But we don't expect anything too crazy. We don't expect it to get too cold. We don't expect it to get too windy. Just a typical pattern as we're transitioning. We're not to summer yet, but we're transitioning And this is sort of the ups and downs that you got to go through. But the downs aren't as bad and the ups are better.
Okay. Have you ever noticed people in Wyoming really do enjoy the nice days and soak them in, but there's always that little bit of suspicion that comes with them?
Well, that's why you always take advantage of the good days when you can. You appreciate them better after a bunch of lousy days. When you get the weather like we had over the weekend, it makes it some in a crazy way. It makes it better. You go down to those boring weather places like Arizona, Florida. It's just boring. You don't want it nice every day.
No, you seriously don't. No. In fact, hey, a good sandblasting by Wyoming winds does everybody a lot of good.
Well, there you go.
So I do notice as we kind of, fluctuate up and down temperature-wise, I was watching your forecast this morning, and it's just one low after the next just pulling stuff down on us. But doesn't at some point that switch around and we get a more southerly flow?
What'll happen is the jet stream will gradually continue to weaken and want to be more north than south. And usually we see that right at the end of May into early June, where the jet stream more often than not is not coming through, but staying to our north. But we're 2 or 3 weeks away from that.
Okay. Thank you, Don. Appreciate it. Don Day from Dave Weather. I had to start off by thanking him for really nice weekend. Off we go to the icebox. Frank Gambino is waiting by. Frank, I'm always trying to find ways to help the family out, and
which family?
Not my family, and not be a burden on them. And I think I found the ultimate thing. Okay, so it's
you wrote them a check?
No, it's better than that. After I'm dead.
Oh, you Venmoed them.
Should I go before them? Okay, to save them a lot of.
Where are you going?
Dead.
Oh,
yes. Should I save them? I want to save them money.
Right? Then fry you.
Yes, that's what's going to happen. But this is better. This is better than a box. And I got to look up this to see because this looks very legit. So I got to make sure that it is. There is a coffee out there. It's coffee. It comes in a coffee can, and it's called Rest in Peace. Freshly roasted coffee. And if this is real, I'm buying it.
There better not have any human ashes in that.
And then over the top of it says, it's this beautiful, nice little bracket with a couple of angels on the top. And it says, in loving memory of, and you take a Sharpie and you write the person's name in. So after you're done drinking the coffee in their honor, you can then go ahead and use the can for the person that you just honored and just pour their ashes in there, and there you go.
Okay, but you're not drinking the guy or the girl.
No. Okay, let's review. You order the can of coffee.
Okay.
And then the person dies.
Yes.
Open the can up and enjoy the coffee in their honor.
Yes.
Then take the person and pour them into the coffee can.
Okay, and then what do you just put it on the mantle?
Whatever you'd like to do.
Or
whatever you do.
Actually in the kitchen next to the coffee maker.
For the love of God, don't put it in the kitchen next to the coffee pot, Frank. That would be really bad.
Why? I mean, you would be able to pay your respects every single morning.
Yeah. I can coffee tastes kind of funny as someone takes the second sip of it. No, that's not. So I went ahead and I put this up on social media and tagged my sister in it. And her answer was, what a marvelous idea.
Well, yeah, and we'll start with you, right?
Yeah, well, this is my sister's answering me right now. I'll keep my boring weather. She's in Florida. She's still talking to Don Day. She prefers her boring weather, not all the wind. But this coffee can idea, sister dear, I'm going to go ahead and look it up while you're doing sports. I'm going to go ahead and look it up to see if this is a real deal. If it is, I'm going to buy some of this and send it to my family for real.
Oh, for perfect Christmas gift.
Yes, something like that.
And the stocking stuffer.
Just keep it around the house and remember how this works. I die, have coffee in my honor, and then use the can for me. And remember what I said I wanted on my tombstone.
They're going to bury you now.
Well, yeah, well,
I would just bury you in the yard.
Little plot. Okay. There's a little family plot at the family cabin.
Okay.
And so I get a little headstone there.
Oh, okay.
And, my name, Glenn Woods, Uncle Glenn, birth date and death date. And underneath that, well, that was stupid.
Yeah.
Leaving it ambiguous as to why I said that.
Exactly. All right, it didn't take long for the Wyoming Cowboy men's basketball program to find a new coach. They've hired Gillette, Wyoming native Sundance Wicks, and he'll replace Jeff Linder, who is going to Texas Tech as an assistant coach. Wicks was an assistant at UW-Underlander for 3 seasons and took the Wisconsin Green Bay head coaching job and turned that Boerbaum program around with an 18-14 record this past season, and they won just 3 games the season before. Wicks was a phenomenal prep athlete at Campbell County High School, winning 2 state championships in basketball, another one in football, and was a state champion in 4A in the 300-meter hurdles and track and field. Maybe Jeff Linder did Wyoming a favor by leaving Texas Tech as UW gets a native son who's been successful. Now the real work for Wicks begins, and that's recruiting. Linder signed 3 guys out of the transfer portal, and with a change of coaches, those guys went back into the portal. And they could return to UW, but the Cowboys need players, and they need them now. In the NBA playoffs, the Denver Nuggets showed a lot of resolve. They even their second-round playoff series with Minnesota 2 games apiece with a 115-107 win on the road last night. Nuggets lost the first 2 games of the series at home and really got serious with Minnesota on the road. They had a 15-point lead at halftime last night. Aaron Gordon had 27 for Denver, and Nikola Jokic had 35 points, 7 rebounds, and 7 assists. Game 5 will be in Denver tomorrow. High school track and field, the state meet will start on Thursday in Casper and run through Saturday. The 4A East regional meet was in Cheyenne over the weekend. Talia Morris of Cheyenne East won 3 events: the 100, the 200, and the long jump. Sheridan girls placed first with East 3rd, Natrona 4th, Laramie 5th, Cheyenne Central 6th, and Cheyenne South 8th. And the boys' side, Aiden O'Leary and Chance Morris of Sheridan won 2 events each, as the Bronx have placed first in the team standings. Cheyenne Central 2nd, Laramie 3rd, Natrona 3rd, Laramie 6th, Cheyenne East 7th, and Cheyenne South 8th. In the 4A West track meet in Rock Springs over the weekend, the Kelly Walsh girls took first. Star Valley's Valerie Jurek won 3 events. She's a Duke University signee. And the Cody boys placed first in that regional with Kelly Walsh 3rd. Stanley Cup playoffs in hockey, the Colorado Avalanche in a must-win situation tonight at home as they trailed Dallas 2-1. The Avs lost Game 3 at home 4-1. They also dropped Game 2 in Dallas by the final score of 5-3. And that's it in sports.
It's real.
It is real.
It is. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. I'm going to order it. That's a rest in peace coffee can. I'm ordering this, and my sister said, we would like you to buy your own burial can. It will be put in at the cabin site. Bunny in Cheyenne says, R.I.P. coffee, Soylent with cream.
Yes.
That's pretty good.
And it's hermetically sealed.
Yes, and Java Dad says, I'm in on the coffee can. Yeah, you can look it up online and buy it.
Oh, you're going to be in the coffee can, too.
Yeah, no, when I die.
Well.
See?
Yeah.
It works that way. All right, thank you, Frank. Okay, sister dear, what I want to know is I want to order this can. Do I send it to me or do I send it to you in preparation of the inevitable that will happen someday? Let me know. It's Wake Up Wyoming. Six the time. It's Wake Up Wyoming. My name is Glenn Woods. Thanks for joining me. It's a Monday. Good-looking weekend. And for most of Wyoming, good-looking Monday, too. So, 888-97 Woods, the phone number. That's 888-97-WOODS.
Today's show is sponsored by Muskrat Fur Leg Warmers. Their fur, their leg warmers, they are nasty.
And just stupid. By the way, I was just warning everybody here at work, if it gets any warmer, and it will, Frank Gambino is going to start showing up for work in shorts. And nobody wants to see that. It's open phones. The most dangerous time for this program.
Warning. Wake Up Wyoming is about to enter daily open phones. This means that anyone will be allowed to call in and talk about anything. I mean, imagine if we actually allowed you on air to say anything you wanted. Scary, right? Well, we're just that brand of crazy. If you are offended by what other people think, then maybe you want to tune out right about now. Just saying. If you should choose to call, just remember, the more funny and interesting you are, the longer Glenn will keep you on the line. Obnoxious jerks will be hung up on. Dave. All right, strap in, and let's do this thing.
888-97 Woods, the phone number, 888-97-WOODS. This is the time we can talk about what I'm talking about or change the subject. Now, for those people who were with me at 6 o'clock in the morning, right out of the gate, bear with me because I got to bring in everybody else on this. There was a time when you got married, it was arranged. And that was pretty much the case worldwide for a while, because marriages were arranged for convenience sake, because couples were supposed to take care of each other and propagate and et cetera, et cetera. It was good for the families. Then, more free will, love and romance. But then came the problem of how do you meet somebody? In more modern times, the bar was just the worst idea to go meet people. And then they came up with dating ideas, dating parties, speed dating parties. You ever heard of speed dating? If you haven't, basically you sit yourself down at a table, and there's other people in the room, and you've got about a minute with somebody. So everybody goes and sits at a table. You got a minute to talk to them. A buzzer goes off. Everybody switches tables. And you try to figure out based on that whether you want to talk to that person anymore or not. That was a horrible idea. But then came dating websites, dating apps. You've seen them advertised on television. Dating apps are a big thing. But now we're getting into the era of artificial intelligence. Now, if you've done any social media, you probably on your messenger have come across, you think you're having a conversation with someone, but it's not a person. It's a bot. It's an AI. And it's chatting with you. And you begin to realize it's chatting with you, a computer is, because sometimes the answers don't make a whole lot of sense. So here is a dating app, a very popular dating app, that came up with a great idea. Why are you wasting your time searching through dating apps to find somebody? Let the artificial intelligence do it for you. And that artificial intelligence will strike up a conversation with that person. So you don't have to. That's awkward. Strike up an online conversation. You can sit back and watch the answers to see if this is someone you want to talk to for real. But hang on. It gets worse. The person on the other end can have an artificial intelligence answer back. So now we got AI talking to AI, and the computers are trying to figure out if the two humans should meet. And if you think I'm kidding...
The dating world is evolving. It used to be you had to meet people in person. Then came the internet, and you could meet people virtually. And now comes artificial intelligence, where your AI concierge could soon do it all for you. Your AI bot could meet other AI bots on your behalf to find your best match. That's according to Bumble's founder.
There is a world where your dating concierge could go and date for you with other dating concierge. No, truly. And then you don't have to talk to 600 people. It will just scan all of San Francisco for you and say, these are the 3 people you really ought to meet.
Bumble dominates in the dating app space, being the second most downloaded behind Tinder. But dating apps across the board have seen a significant drop in stock since the pandemic. Bumble's shares are down 80% compared to 2021.
I wonder why.
Dating apps are reinventing the space to attract more people, because right now 80% of app users say they often feel emotionally, mentally, or physically exhausted by dating apps. That's according to a new Forbes survey. To address this app fatigue, Bumble is rolling out a new plan. Since its origin in 2014, Bumble's biggest difference from its competitors was allowing women to make the first move and send the first message, which means men wanting to message women had to wait for a woman to show interest first. Now, that's changed, and anyone can start up the conversation. Bumble is also making that part of the process easier for its users, including AI-generated messages to send new matches. For now, the AI-generated concierge is just a concept.
Okay, and hopefully it stays that way. So I want you to picture what they're talking about here. Again, you don't need to sit there swiping left and right and trying to decide who you want to meet. The AI will do it for you. And then the AI will make first contact. And on the other side, the other person is not waiting for someone to contact them. They're waiting for the AI to say, hey, someone's trying to contact you. Don't worry, I got this, and the AI will step in and answer. So now you got 2 AIs talking to each other, 2 computers, they're talking to each other about you and the other person to try to figure out if you two should meet in person. The really awkward part is if you do meet in person, then you have to have a real conversation, which is probably not going to happen because I've seen too many dates these days where people are supposed to be on a date, but they're not talking to each other. They're playing on their phones. Oh, we're in so much trouble. Because social skills are really out the window. We spent a lot of time, when I was a kid, there was a lot of teaching of social skills in school. This happened in school, whether I was in a private school or a public school. They worked really hard on teaching social skills. And that included things like, let's go to the dance, let's date, But it's changed so much. So the in-person social skill thing, making eye contact. Wow. Imagine having to do that. Now, in modern time, I'm not dating anyone. I'm not even trying. But if I did, one thing I would watch for, if at any point she starts playing with her phone, we're done. Morning, Chet. Chet's in Yoder. Sometimes real people give answers and talk while not making sense. Well, that's true. And then you got to wonder, Chet, is that person a robot? Sometimes I actually do wonder. Are we just dealing with robots when I'm talking to someone who's making absolutely no sense at all? So anyway, this Bumble, is that what they're called, app, they haven't rolled this out yet. They're talking about it. I kind of hope they do. Because honestly, I just want to sit back and watch the results of this. I really want to have a test, though. If I were on a dating app, let's say I were to download a dating app, can I have a scale where the AI can test and register to see if this person's a psychopath? Wouldn't you like to know that up front? Have you dealt with enough of those that you would like to know up front? Probably the best way to go.
Hello, I finished my free trial of adulting. I'm no longer interested. I'd like to cancel my subscription. Is there a manager that I can talk to?
Admit it, you were hoping somebody would say that. He's talking to himself in a padded room, and you could be the voice in his head. Join the conversation on Wake Up Wyoming, 866-97-WOODS.
In regards to the dating thing, Fire Pit Paul has this piece of advice. It doesn't matter how perfect someone is, there's someone somewhere who is tired of their crap. That's that is so true. And that includes some people you're married to, Paul. But anyway. All right, 888-97-WOODS, phone number 888-97-WOODS from Colby. She's our news lady in the Casper market. She writes this story. Gas prices in Wyoming up 4 cents a gallon in just last week. Average price per gallon rose 4.1 cents per gallon last week, averaging 3.31 per gallon. Wow, it was below, in some places, it had gotten below the $3 mark, which I looked at and thought, I'm not going to say, wow, look at those great gas. Those are not great gas prices. Those are still way too high. But at least it wasn't $4 a gallon, right? All right. According to Gas Buddy reports, gas station in Natrona County is $2.95. Sinclair Station in Casper, the one on 12th Street and 2nd Street. Conoco on 2nd and Casper is also priced at $2.95 as of this morning. Last we looked anyway. National average gasoline has fallen 3.2 cents to $3.58. See, Wyoming has been below the national average. The average price of diesel has fallen 4.6 cents. Last weekend stands at $3.90 per gallon, which is still way too high. So, okay, yeah, prices have gone way up and down quite a bit. I'm just taking a look at May here around the country. Historic gasoline prices in Wyoming and the national average through the years is what Colby put together. And she started in 2014, where the price was $3.64 average. 2015, $2.67. 2016, $2.22. 2017, $2.23. And then in 2018, we got to $2.86. Now, by the time we got to 2010, we had dropped to $1.86 per gallon. I remember that. I'm sorry, 2020. we had dropped to $1.86 per gallon. Then we suddenly popped up again. At one point, the average in Wyoming was $4.44 a gallon. Okay, now we're at about $3.52 average. And let's see here. Neighboring areas. Fort Collins is about $3.12. Ogden is about $3.69. Billings is $3.46. So, okay. We have, a lot of yo-yoing here going on, don't we? All right, next one up for you. And by the way, you can change the subject if you want. 888-97-WOODS, the phone number, 888-97-WOODS. Talk about what I'm talking about or change the subject. Let's go to Princeton real quick here because there's still protesters out there at college campi across the country, although there's fewer and fewer of them all the time. But Princeton hunger strike. Well, they quit with a hilarious twist, the story says. We introduce you to them in 5 days when they claimed the university was starving them because of what they had elected to do voluntarily. These were the Princeton University kids who went to protest and do a sit-in in part of the university and then started complaining that the university wasn't providing them with food and showers and stuff like that. The story says they threw a tantrum about how hard it was and how they were literally shaking, and the university didn't care. And none of us really did anyway. Then how the faculty members joined their effort, fasting for just 24 hours. That's all they had to do. Some committed to a 24-hour fast, and that's lame. You stopped eating for a day. Now, with the original 13 students calling for an end of their hunger strike after 10 days, because it might be having an effect on them, you think, the story says, while coming up to terms, making it sound like they're not quitting. Here's what they posted. Princeton, Gaza Solidarity Encampment Update. Due to health concerns of the 13 strikers who fasted for 10 days, the first hunger strike wave ended, and the second wave has begun. The tradition of rotary hunger. I've heard of this before. Okay. This is really lame. I've actually heard of this before. They're going to do hunger strikes, but they're not going to do it all at once because that's dangerous. Rather than some people, like a group of people, like 10 people sit down and just continue to strike until they get what they want, which I would never give them what they want. I'm sorry, I'm not going to do that. You're not going to pressure me because you decided not to eat. That was your decision. But instead, to be safer, what they do is a rotating hunger strike. So let's imagine I go on a hunger strike with some of you, the listeners out there. So what I'll do is I'll skip breakfast tomorrow morning. Then we take someone over there. Let's see. Arnie is in Casper. Arnie, you skip lunch on Tuesday. Firefit, Paul, you skip dinner on Tuesday. Okay, Chet and Yoder. Okay, you skip breakfast on Wednesday. Let's see. Gadget in Pine Bluffs, Wyoming. You'll go ahead on Wednesday and you'll skip lunch. Bert in Cheyenne. You skip dinner on Wednesday. See what I'm doing here? Scaredy Cat and Casper. You got breakfast on Thursday. And on we go. That's supposed to be a hunger strike. That's what they're doing here. This is what they're calling a hunger strike. Now, does that sound like anything that we should be concerned about? No. So you skipped breakfast or you skipped lunch. Whoop-de-doo. No one really cares. All right. The story says, they said 7 new strikers are indefinitely fasting for free Palestine. And I don't think they understand how the hunger strike is supposed to work because they're doing this rotating thing. So then they went ahead and put on, I'm still saying Twitter, not X, but okay, Princeton Gaza Solidarity Encampment Update. Okay, 13 strikers fasted for 9 days. The first hunger strike ended, and then they go into the whole wave thing again. Okay. Participants abstain from food and drink except water until our demands are met. No, you skip breakfast. So here's someone named Brad who writes to them on Twitter. If you truly believe you can rotate your dedication like changing lines during a hockey game, you have no clue about the definition of the term. Julian Peckish, who's next? Here's another one. Rotary hunger strike. The Jews and Arabs are fighting in this war, fast many times a year, and don't ask for a Nobel Prize for doing it. And you kids are like, if we each take a day or a meal, that this is supposed to be a big deal. Again, I don't think they really understand what a hunger strike is. Fire Pit Paul, let's skip lunch. I don't eat lunch. Okay, okay, fine. So Fire Pit Paul is going to take Wednesday, and he's going to skip lunch because he doesn't like skipping dinner. We haven't figured out yet, Paul, what are we supposed to be striking? Let's figure something out. We're going to go strike something, and we're each just going to skip a meal. I wonder if that includes snacks. We have to get some people that want to skip snacks. And I think that's probably the hardest thing, because you can go ahead and skip lunch, Paul, but were you snacking? Are they doing that? No one said anything about skipping snacks. All right. Rolling into 8:30, which is news time, and then update on your weather forecast. Then there's a nice long segment of open phones. 888-97 Woods, the phone number, 888-97-WOODS. You can talk about what I'm talking about. Change the subject, fine, whatever you want to do. I'll just kind of roll with it. It's Wake Up Wyoming.
Wednesday.
You asked for an expert. We didn't have the budget for that. Wake Up Wyoming with Glenn Woods. Weekdays 6 to 10 a.m. and 24/7 on the Wake Up Wyoming app.
8:36 the time. It's Wake Up Wyoming. I will get to another topic here about that gravel pit that's in the Casper Mountain area. But hang on, because the last topic, I'm getting comments here, so got to go through them. These are great. If you're just joining me, Princeton University, they decided the kids to go on a hunger strike, along with the protests you've seen at their university. These were the same kids that were upset because they went on into one of the buildings and occupied it. But then nobody was giving them food or water. They couldn't go to the bathroom. They were supposed to sleep on the hard floor. They didn't plan for this, did they? If you're going to go take over a building and occupy it, you have to plan some logistics here. You don't win a war without logistical planning, but okay. So they decided to go on a hunger strike. Well, that's not working out. So they decided to go on a rolling hunger strike. Now, the first time I heard about this is decades ago, the Reverend Jesse Jackson. So Jesse Jackson had said he was going to go on a hunger strike. And I forget what the issue was. And then shortly after he said that, a reporter saw him walking out of a really nice Washington, D.C. restaurant with some friends. And the reporter had the nerve to ask a real question. Excuse me, Reverend Jackson. You said you were on a hunger strike. So Jesse Jackson said, well, it's a rolling hunger strike. See, I skipped breakfast. And then one of my partners in this hunger strike, he skipped lunch. And then we have someone who's going to skip dinner. This was his excuse. Now, I heard about that decades ago. That's what these university kids are doing. They're on a hunger strike, but it's a rolling hunger strike. So they skip a meal. That's supposed to mean something to us. And I wonder, does that include skipping snacks? Okay, so let me see. Lyman, Losk, and Wheatland. The commercial where Chuck Norris says people don't talk about their health enough hasn't been to lunch at a senior center. Java Dad in Cheyenne, I'll skip the midnight snack. Well, it's easy to do. You're asleep. Okay. But, hey, look, We appreciate your efforts, Java Dad, but we haven't figured out what we're going to protest yet, right? RH in Wiggins, Colorado, 10, no, that was a different subject. Okay, Simple Man in Casper. Okay, so I thought of something to strike about. Oh, good. But I think will let me get and see, be waiting for. Okay, let me know, because I think what happens, Simple Man, is if you're doing voice to text, I have no idea what that just said. But he says he has an idea what to strike about. Fire Pit Paul, please, can protesting people who have hunger strikes, please. See, again, sometimes these sentences come out jumbled. Oh, can we protest people who have hunger strikes? Is that what you want to protest? Oh, I get it. Fire Pit Paul wants to protest people who are having hunger strikes. I think that makes complete sense. So we'll go on this rolling hunger strike, but my rule is you don't have to skip snacks. So if you want to load up on snacks, let's say we ask you to skip lunch for our hunger strike, and you're worried about skipping lunch, go ahead and load up on snacks. That'll be fine. Rocky in Rockport. Morning, Rocky.
Good morning, Glenn. How are you this
Good, sir.
This
What you
morning?
got? I'm great. What you got?
Well, could I comment on the Israel situation a little
Absolutely.
bit?
Yep. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I've been over to Israel 8 times and have a lot of friends that live there. And basically, they just want to be left alone and be able to live in peace and have their, live their lives. But unfortunately, they keep getting attacked, and we don't hear about a lot of it. I have one friend, his name is Moshe. He says, John, on weekends, like we go down southern Israel, and here's a bunch of people coming in, and we have to kind of neutralize them. But, we never hear about it. So the other thing, I've seen some interviews of some of these younger people that are at these riots or whatever you want to protest, and they say, well, why are you here? And this one young lady said, I just heard that there was a gathering down here and that there were police, so I just came down to see what was happening. And so the interviewer said, well, so why are you here? She says, I have no idea. I'm just here. So
yeah. I heard a lot about that. There was a couple of college kids that were interviewed asking, why are you here? And they said, well, in support of our friends. Okay, but what are you protesting? What's going on? They had no clue. They just knew that their friends were there, so that's why they went down.
Yeah, and then you ask them, well, what does the river to the sea mean?
Yeah.
They said, well, I have no idea what river you're talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, they're asking for the annihilation of the Jewish people.
Right.
And I'm sorry, that's the only Jewish state, in the world. And my goodness, they've been pretty good friends. If they weren't there, Iran would be over here trying to annihilate us. So I personally think we need to support them. And I have 2 sons that are firefighters, and when they go to a fire, they don't put out 80% of it. They put out 100%. Mm-hmm. So I think I support Israel, and, they're just trying to protect their citizens from being killed. So,
all right.
But I appreciate you. I love your show. It's great.
All right. Appreciate it. Thank you for calling in, Rocky. So 888-97 Woods, the phone number, 888-97-WOODS. David in Texas. Now, so you know, people are able to text us, not just call like Rocky did. He's down in Colorado. But people are able to text the program. Use the Wake Up Wyoming app and hit the chat option, and there you go. So David's listening in Texas. I've gone 1 meal a day for months. Not a big deal. Yeah, but see, now, Dave, don't ask these snot-nosed college kids to do that. I mean, they go on a hunger strike. I'm trying to remember. Hey, Rianne, you still with me? Did I write, I don't think I did I write a social justice warrior bit where he goes on a hunger strike? I don't think I did, but that seemed, If I didn't, I should probably go back and write a social justice warrior bit where he goes on a hunger strike, because it's obviously just this whole thing's not going to work out for them. It really isn't for these college kids. They're going to put a lot into this, and they think they are. But in the end, they're not going to get anything that they want. Okay, so at least they can say they were part of something. Yay. All right, real quick. Plans to scale back operation of Casper Mountain gravel pit revealed after months of pushback. This story is from Wyoming News Now, local television news. In Casper Thursday, the manager, Carl True, met with Casper residents and members of the Casper Mountain Preservation Alliance. Town hall meeting, effort to clear any confusion over the proposed gravel pit. And so True acknowledged the public's concerns and assured the crowd that the public will not have any negative, or his project will not have any negative impacts on the community. He said, I am hearing significant fear if it is put in will have a significant negative impacts on their homes and their lives, and I would say property values. And I don't think those fears are justified, he said, but I think they are there. I think those fears are real, and that is why I wanted to address these questions. So at the meeting, he unveiled his company's project or plan for the gravel pit after listening to community feedback, and that's essentially to scale it back by about 60%, if I'm reading this right, according to the new plan. The area of the pit is not to exceed 30 acres. So we'll see. That's all I really have on that story right now. We'll see if that plan goes over well with the community.
To cognitive distortions. Cognitive distortion. No. Cognitive distortions. Haagen-Dazs dispersion. Getting further away. Cognitive distortions. I don't know what you're saying. It's when you think things are different than how they actually are. Oh, like imaginary. Kind of, but bad imaginary. No!
Yep, there you have it. A new level of crazy. And you heard it here first. Where Wyoming comes to talk. This is Wake Up Wyoming with Glenn Woods on K2 Radio. Be part of the show at 888-97-WOODS.
8:48 is the time. Off we go to the icebox. Frank Gambino is waiting by. Okay, Frank, came across the story. 1870s the year, right?
Oh, I remember it well.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure you do. Wind River Valley, Wyoming. Okay. Prospectors heading out that way, and they pass by some soldiers on horseback who tell them, you don't want to go down that way. There's some hostile Indians, and they're not in a good mood. Okay. And these guys go, well, we got this, because there's gold down there.
Yeah, so they're going to go.
So they get ambushed. And later that day, the soldiers are back in that area, and they find the bodies. Okay. One of them, who seemed to, it looks like with all of the shell casings around him and so on, might have been the last man standing. And they find that the Indians took a spike about the size of a railroad spike off the wagon and drove it through his skull.
Alrighty then.
Okay. So, this guy, they do a mass burial at the site. But then later, everybody is picked up and moved to the area that would now be Lander. There was a fort there at the time. Mm-hmm. But now is it Lander? I'm sorry. No, not, I'm picking the wrong place here. It's not Lander.
Riverton?
No, it is Lander. Okay. Anyway.
It
is Lander. All right. This guy's name is Harvey, by the way. Harvey. So as they're working on a water line for Lander, they come across, as they're digging, they come across the old grave, which had been forgotten. Mm-hmm. And as they're trying to remove respectfully the bones, they come across the skull with the spike through it. And everybody goes, oh, we've heard this story. So that's why when you go to Lander, there's a museum there. Mm-hmm. That was the first piece.
Oh, the spike?
Yes, you can still see in the museum, and I have a story on this with a video on the Wake Up Wyoming website, this guy's skull with a spike driven through it. It is on display at the museum.
It's a little bit morbid, don't you think?
Yes.
Macabre or whatever it is.
But now they were saying that they wanted to do something to start a museum. Where do we begin?
Right there with the guy with the spike in his head.
Right there. We'll put that on there first. That'll draw a crowd.
Boy. All right, it didn't take very long for the Wyoming Cowboy men's basketball program to find a new coach. They've hired Gillette, Wyoming native Sundance Wicks. He will replace Jeff Linder, who is going to Texas Tech as an assistant coach, and Wicks was an assistant at UW under Linder for 3 seasons. And then he took the Wisconsin Green Bay head coaching job and turned them around. They were 18-14 this past season and won just 3 games the season before that. And Wicks was a phenomenal prep athlete at Campbell County High School, winning 2 state championships in basketball, another one in football, and was a state champion in the 300-meter hurdles and track and field. Maybe Jeff Linder did Wyoming a favor by leaving for Texas Tech, as UW gets a native son who has been successful. And the real work for Wicks begins now, and that's recruiting. Linder signed 3 guys out of the portal, and with the change of coaches, those guys went back in the portal. They could return to UW, but the Cowboys need players, and they need good players, and they need them now. In the NBA playoffs, the Denver Nuggets showed some resolve. They evened their second-round playoff series with Minnesota 2 games apiece with a 115-107 win yesterday. The Nuggets lost their first 2 games of the series at home and then got serious with Minnesota on the road. They had a 15-point lead at halftime. Aaron Gordon had 27 for Denver, and league MVP Nikola Jokic had 35 points, 7 rebounds, and 7 assists. Game 5 will be in Denver tomorrow. High school track and field, the state meet will begin on Thursday in Casper, run through Saturday. The 4A East regional meet in Cheyenne over the weekend. Talia Morris of Cheyenne East won 3 events, the 100, the 200, and the long jump. The Sheridan girls placed first, Cheyenne East 3rd, Natrona 4th, Laramie 5th, Cheyenne Central 6th, and Cheyenne South 8th. On the boys' side, Aiden O'Leary and Chance Morris of Sheridan won 2 events each as the Bronx placed first in the 4A East team standings. Cheyenne Central 2nd, Natrona 3rd, Laramie 6th, Cheyenne East 7th, and Cheyenne South 8th. The 4A West regional track meet was in Rock Springs over the weekend. The Kelly Walls girls took first in the team standings. Star Valley's Valerie Jurek won 3 events. She's a Duke University signee. Cody Boyes placed first in that regional with Kelly Walsh taking 3rd. Stanley Cup playoffs in hockey. The Colorado Avalanche will meet the Dallas Stars tonight in Denver in Game 4 of their series. Their Avs are down 2-1 after losing Game 3 at home by the final score of 4-1.
So does UW have all the coaches it needs?
And I think the pieces are in place now.
Okay.
It was really weird. Just guys say, all right, we're leaving, and then another guy comes in, and nobody really said anything about it, and then all of a sudden now we have a new head coach, and it's okay, here we go.
All right.
Way to go, Sundance Wicks, yeah.
I understood what you were doing, but I was thoroughly confused by the end of it.
I think some people are too,
kind of. Okay. Thank you, Frank. Coming up on local business. News time after that. Got lots of comments off the Wake Up Wyoming app. And since we're in open phones. It's Wake Up Wyoming. 9:06 the time. It's Wake Up Wyoming. It is a Monday. Welcome to it. And a nice-looking Monday out there, too. Got some phone calls lined up. Hang on, here we go.
Today's show is sponsored by Muskrat Fur Leg Warmers. Their fur, their leg warmers, they are nasty.
And just plain stupid, too. Representative Tony Locke joins us on the phone about the Rocky Mountain Power meeting, which Representative I was talking about earlier this morning. Thanks for calling in about that. I appreciate it.
Glenn, this is Tony. I apologize. I just lost you there. Sorry.
Oh, okay. I think I got you back now. Anyway, yeah, I just introduced you and said thanks for calling in about this. So please go right ahead. We're talking about the Rocky Mountain Power meeting.
Yes, absolutely. And I just wanted to thank you for having me and having me on. I just wanted to get the word out to the people out there in Natrona County and around the state that they're having a meeting. Rocky Mountain Power is having a meeting this evening at the Ramcota between 4 and 7 to discuss their rate hike requests. And so I'd like to just ask as many people as possible to try to attend, to get out there, get your questions asked, get information, and let's get prepared because they're asking for an additional 16.5% here again this year. And I was heavily involved in the Rocky Mountain Power pushback last year, and I think we need to stay in this process and stay engaged. So I'm just asking as many of your listeners and as we possibly can to get involved.
Okay, and we do have meetings all across the state all this week, so check for a listing in your area. But let's get the people in the Natrona County area to the meeting tonight. They need to be where and when?
So the Ramcota this evening between 4 and 7 is the one here in Natrona County. So as you said, that's the one here, and then there's some others later this week in other towns across the state.
Thank you, Mr. Luck. I appreciate you calling in.
Thank you so much, Glenn. Have a wonderful day.
All right. So 888-97 Woods the phone number. That's 888-97 WOODS. And of course, you can talk about what I'm talking about. Change the subject. That'd be just fine by me. Can't start the week, can't end the week without giving Judy a chance to vent and fly off the handle, so it's safe for the rest of us to go outside. Hey, Jude.
Hey, good morning. Since we're on the tax thing, I found they were called the Wyoming Taxpayers Association.
Right.
That was supposedly the ones that were doing the advocacy between Rocky Mountain Power and the people. Well, we know that was quite the failure, and we still got the increases of, like I said, almost 30% the last round. I wanted to bring up the rest of the taxes, okay? Now, cigarettes are getting taxed $1.40 per pack. And when they were getting taxed at 60 cents for a pack of cigarettes, the state got $15 million. So you can only imagine it's got to be at least $30 million now if it's $1.40 a pack.
Mm-hmm.
The taxable stuff is Amazon, clothing, catering, vehicles, medicine, parts, taxis, buses, things like that. Beer is 2 cents a gallon tax. Wine is 20.28 per gallon. Liquor 98. Gas tax is at 23 plus the 1 cent for license tax, so it's 24 cents. Were you saying earlier that they wanted 50 cents, or was that California?
That was California.
Okay. Well, they're going to get us up to that 50 cents. Now, the whole point of all this is, like I told the last, who was it, one of our reps, I said, haven't we paid enough in taxes this year? I mean, the school, they're sitting on just a 4% state tax, and this was 22. They were $446,590,000 going on. And they're only using like $52 million to run their basic stuff. General purpose fund, $169 million. The point is they've got us paying taxes on everything already. And I know the lodging tax went from 3%, and I think it's up to like 6% now. So, we're being taxed out of existence. For the small population that we have, it's just ridiculous. And, yeah, I'm going to be at Rocky Mountain Power tonight because, I feel like this is just lip service again because this Wyoming Taxpayers Association advocate didn't do squat for us last round. I don't remember him even saying anything to the legislators or anyone saying that he had talked to a legislator. So there you go. We're just being taxed right out of existence in Wyoming. We got some greedy people.
Yeah. Well, and when I take a look at what they want to do for raising, one kind of a tax, like the sin tax, usually it's called a sin tax, beer, cigarettes, stuff like that. Their idea is twofold, which doesn't make sense. On the one hand, we can go ahead and tax more, we'll get more money. But on the other hand, hey, less people will do these things. And really, less people don't. Yeah, if you tax too much, people just go somewhere else. They'll go over to the Indian reservation, for example, and buy the same thing.
Well, and that's what they're trying to do right now. I just read an article on that. Wyoming's trying to figure out how to make the Indian reservation start taxing their cigarettes and stuff, because we have figured out if we go to Riverton, you get our cigarettes a lot cheaper. They're $6 a pack. I mean, are we New York? Are we Colorado? I think we have too many Colorados and progressives. There was a gal arguing with Rose over the weekend about the wind and solar, and the gal claimed that minerals like oil and gas are getting subsidies, and I was furious.
Yeah.
No, they don't get subsidies. They may get tax breaks, but they don't draw a dime from the taxpayers like wind and solar does.
Right.
So
that's
anyway,
true. All right. You feel better?
Yes, I do.
All right. Let me know tomorrow what happens with that meeting tonight.
I sure will.
All right. Thank you, Judy. Appreciate it. So 888-97 was the phone number. That's 888-97-WOODS. A couple of notes I got from some other people on some different subjects. So here, first off, are the protesters at Princeton, which are on a hunger strike. But since they can't handle a hunger strike, they're doing a rolling hunger strike, which means one person skips lunch, another person skips dinner, like that. They said nothing about snacks. Cindy sends me this note. Good morning, Glenn. Maybe Princeton should market their hunger strike as the Princeton Weight Loss Program. True, if you skip a meal now and then, and a lot of these college students are overweight anyway, so. Sherry's down there in Cheyenne, and this was about the dating app. So this is actually a thing a dating app company is suggesting. So if rather than you sitting there swiping through the dating app looking for someone, the app will do it for you based on what you said your parameters were. And if it finds somebody who it thinks, well, you need to have a conversation with them, well, let's see if they're any good. The app will start to send text messages for you. On the other side, the app is waiting for someone to acknowledge them, that they're on the dating site. And so if the app starts to get queries, it will send messages back. So what you have are two different apps talking to each other to figure out if you two should get together and meet in person. In which case I said, don't worry, eye contact doesn't happen anymore. Sherry runs a restaurant. She says, I have servers on dating apps, and guests will recognize and message them from the app while they are in the restaurant, sometimes sitting in their section, and not actually talk to each other, but they know each other's presence. Oh, that's just creepy. Oh, hey, I see you on the dating app over there. I'm here in your restaurant. Oh, yeah, I know you're over there. But they don't make contact. They don't walk over and talk to each other, right? We're losing true social skills. We're really losing true social skills.
Welcome to Woke Radio. WOKE is the top of the hour, and we're sponsored by Rainbow Mood Hair Color, the hair dye that changes your hair color depending on what's pissing you off now.
This show contains sarcasm that some listeners may find disturbing. A sense of humor is advised. Chat with Glenn live on the Wake Up Wyoming app.
9:21's the time. It's Wake Up Wyoming. Back to the phones we go, where Rose has been patiently waiting by. Morning, Rose.
Good morning, Glenn.
Yes.
Judy mentioned that I was talking to a delightful creature this weekend.
Okay. Yeah.
That really needs to learn the difference between a direct subsidy and, resource purchase conversion.
Right, yeah.
We got property taxes that have gone up. 20% increases on agricultural land. The mountain land and bar none in this area, they've all seen an increase because of that wonderful House Bill 45 that did nothing, as it was known to do. It's never enough.
Right.
And then Kyle True last week, talking to him about his proposed gravel mine, I was talking about property taxes and how this mine, in theory, could reduce property taxes. Again, this will be a rhetorical question, Glenn, but when have they ever taken a tax and reduced anything?
Okay. Yeah. Here's the difference that I often, when I have a disagreement with someone about what a tax break and a subsidy is. Here's how I explain it to them. A subsidy is when money is taken from the taxpayers and given to a company by government. A tax break, we're just allowing those companies to keep the money that they earned by doing business, which means it's their money. And we're just not going to take it from them. The reason we're not going to take it from them is because they're doing things like buying new equipment, repairing old equipment, expanding their business, hiring employees, things like that. So we'll let them keep more of their money that was theirs anyway, just so they can do these things. There's the difference between the two.
Yeah. So all this green energy, it seems to be pretty green in that it costs more.
Yeah. I even heard a discussion that was on public television during the weekend. The truth about electric vehicles. You know, the price of electric vehicles is going way down. No. Two things. First off, dealerships are reducing the price of electric vehicles because they're not moving. But also government subsidies have gone up. So the price of the car hasn't gone down.
Yep.
All right.
Well, these people, I guess, you know, what I'd like to ask is that people start really getting involved. It's more important now than ever that we push back. Every time there's an increase on something, it's a step for everything else, and that's all we're seeing. And we're losing all of our freedoms and rights in this country.
All right, they're just moving it somewhere else. All right, thank you, Rose. I appreciate it. Well, and that is. Oftentimes when a problem is solved, let me give you an example of something I talked about. I still got to write an article about this, but when we're talking about moving things around, so we're supposed to be transitioning to green energy, right? Sounds great, right? We're transitioning to green energy. The transition really is just moving all of it overseas to Africa and to Asian countries like China and India. That's all that's happening. We're using on this planet more coal, gas, and oil than ever before. Not less, far more. Because we're transitioning out of using coal, gas, and oil in this country, and those companies are just going overseas and using it somewhere else. There's your energy transition for you, by the way. Let me see, several people talking about rules and regulations. Milo in Fort Danger wants to double the taxes in Fort Danger. I have an idea. I want to tax the government. And the moment I said to Milo, I want to tax, can I tax government? They're taxing me. I like to tax them back. And I like to regulate them back. And then I realized, a few years ago, I did one of my morning little bits here, Jenkins and the Boss. Now, for Jenkins and the Boss, I'm the voice of the boss. Jenkins is John in Gillette. So I would write this bit, and he and I would get together and record it.
Jenkins!
Yes, sir?
Jenkins, we seem to be having a little bit of trouble keeping up with all of these new government regulations. Every time I think we've got a handle on them, they just send us piles more.
Yes, sir? Should I double the staff again?
No, I don't think we could afford that again. I have a better idea.
Why does it always worry me when you say that?
If we create our own bureaucracy, we can force the government bureaucrats to go through, thereby slowing down the bureaucracy.
Sir, that is so stupid. It just might work.
Yes, that's what I was thinking.
And might I say, sir, that it is my hope that I share my gel cell with you.
Why, what a nice sentiment, Jenkins.
Sir, I'd rather spend the next 20 years with a 68-year-old fool than as the girlfriend of a tattooed behemoth whose legal name is Skull.
I'm sure you'll want the top bunk.
I'm sure you won't be able to climb up there.
Good point.
Yeah, so that's Jenkins and the Boss for you. On what I just kind of wondering, can we go ahead and tie up the bureaucracy in our own bureaucracy? I've been curious about that for a very long time. So every time government bureaucrats show up to slow you down, you tie them up. I would love to fill out all of that paperwork and pay all of those fees. Absolutely. But before I do that, I have to have you fill out this paperwork on that paperwork. And there's going to be fees for that paperwork. So you guys go ahead and fill all of this out and pay the fees to me. And that will open up the door for me to be able to fill out all of your paperwork and pay all of your fees. Okay? So, yeah, let's get this started. And if we do that, then we've tied up the bureaucracy with bureaucracy. Now, if they turn to us and say, well, we can't let you do that. Well, I can't. I'm sorry. My hands are tied. I have no choice. You have to fill out this paperwork. Here's Milo again. That's a great idea. Tax them for the BLM land. Yeah. Why can't we go ahead and tax and regulate government? There we go. Specifically, let's go ahead and take the EPA and the BLM, and we're going to tax and regulate them. So if someone from the EPA shows up on your property, in order for them to walk around and write up what they think they're seeing and fine you and all this kind of stuff, before they come on your property, they're going to have to fill out the paperwork and there's going to be a fee. There. See, I think in this case, turnabout is fair play. Now, one of you guys out there, go ahead and give that a try. And then I'll go meet you at your jail cell, and we'll talk through those telephones between the glass there to find out how that worked out for you. I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm sure it will. Coming up on some local business that we have to take care of, and we're going to roll into news time after that. National local update on the weather forecast. The cult of climate change wants to start culling the human herd. Yeah, people in Wyoming knows what it means to cull something. Yeah, my answer is you first. But hang on. We'll talk about that right when we get done with news and weather. It's Wake Up Wyoming.
Wednesday.
This program is intended for immature audiences only. Wake Up Wyoming with Glenn Woods. Weekdays at 6 on air, on Alexa, and 24/7 on the Wake Up Wyoming app.
$9:30 to 6 the time. Wake Up Wyoming. My name is Glenn Woods. Thanks for joining me. All right, 888-97 Woods, the phone number, 888-97-WOODS. You can talk about what I'm talking about. Change the subject, fine by me. Okay, you're going to love this one. I had to pick the right music for this. Which one's the right one? I think it's probably the Greta Thunberg. How do you say her name? I don't know. Sweaty Dance Hall. Big screens up above, everybody dancing with their arms in the air. Angry Greta staring down at them from those big screens. How dare you? So, okay, here's the one, and this is one of those you first things. You first, okay? Every once in a while, the story says you see somebody commit the Kinsley gaffe, named after Michael Kinsley, who rose to fame as a writer for the New Republic and as a TV commentator. Kinsley gaffe is simple to understand. When a person, usually a politician, accidentally tells you what they think, and they didn't intend to. Great example of the Kinsley gaffe popped up, he said, and he decided to share it. Here is Uncle Sam pointing at you. You know, I want you. And he's saying you are the carbon footprint they want to reduce. Many of you may have seen that one. Well, here's something on Twitter, which I still call it that. Maybe I'll get over it one of these days. Guy named Bill. If I am brutally honest, the only realistic way to see emissions fall as fast as CO2 emissions, see them fall as fast as they need to avoid catastrophic climate breakdown, is the culling of the human population by a pandemic with a very high fatality rate. The issue is when we pull the trigger, how prepared are we, like the bird flu? Okay. My answer to all of this is always, if you would like to cull, in other words, reduce the population, and he doesn't mean do like Hitler did to reduce the population or wipe out. That's not what he's talking about. What he means is, let's go ahead and release something that, forget the last, virus we went through in 2020. Forget that. No. What he means is release some virus that will really take out a good part of the human population. But my answer to this is always, you first. For all of this is not the first time I've read somebody say this. McGuire argues we need to reduce emissions by 50% by 2030. He also believes that this will be impossible without a major die-off. Well, okay. I can dispute that number because even before we started using oil and gas and coal, the CO2 rate on this planet was rising at a tremendous rate. And it continues. Now, CO2 is not a pollutant. It's not causing a climate crisis, okay? But still, for those people who think it is a problem, hey, the CO2 rate started increasing Mostly because of things like, for example, volcanic activity, but there's many other things. So even if human beings weren't around, our contribution to that is very small to what the planet does to itself. But again, here's Bill McGuire. Would love to hear how emissions can be cut by at least 50% in the next 66 months by 2030. Without a major economic shock that slashes human activity. This must happen to have any chance of sidestepping an all-pervasive, well, this is what he's talking about. Oh, this guy also wrote an article, Why Genghis Khan Was Good for the Planet. Because he killed so many people. Human beings, of course, are the problem, right? And so my answer to these people is always the same thing. You want to do this? Okay. You first. We'll be right behind. No, it's okay. Trust me. Trust me. We'll be right. You can look at me. You can believe me. We'll be right behind you. So if you want to go ahead and reduce the human population by 50%, you're the first one to go, okay? And we'll stand here applauding as you're off. You either need to kill yourself or we'll do it for you any way you want. That's fine. And we'll stand here applaud as you fade away and die. And trust me, we will be right behind you. Okay? Okay. Well, I don't know why these people doubt me when I say that. Is it my tone of voice? Maybe. Is that what you think it is? All right, but this is the cult of climate change, which if you ever wonder why do I read this stuff out loud, I do this because we need to hear what the extremists have to say. And it's the extremists that are often taken seriously in our obsolete, irrelevant news media. And so, yeah, well, I mean, someone who I go through every single day, a lot of what the news media says. A lot. Every single day. And they tend to highlight the extremists because the extremists get headlines. And I think one of the best ways to defeat these people is to really tell you what they think. The more you hear what they actually think, the quicker they defeat themselves.
Oh my God, the world's going to end in 12 years. And the only thing you can do is vote for a Democrat.
Yep, there you have it. A new level of crazy. And you heard it here first. Sure, this show is sustainable. We sequester all gas emissions to one room. Wake Up Wyoming with Glenn Woods, live on AM 1030 and FM 95.1, weekdays at 6.
.48 the time. It's Wake Up Wyoming, and off we go to the icebox to talk to Frank Gambino. So, okay, Frank, I got some really, I think, probably important advice from the Sheriff's Department over there in Teton County.
Okay, what are they advising?
Yeah, and it's nothing bad, Frank, now. Yeah. It's just, okay, so say you're you're driving,
yeah,
and you have a car full of people.
Yeah.
Okay, does everybody know their responsibilities?
Don't interfere with the driver.
Well, okay, that would be step one. Yeah, okay. So
don't stick your head out the window.
That would, and bark at people.
Yes.
You know, don't do that.
Don't moon anybody on the road. That's 3.
Well, it depends on how many beers and how many friends you're with and so on. But okay. Don't you do it, you're driving.
Yeah.
But they can do it. Okay. So here's what they did. They have a picture of a car and they blocked off various areas. And so the driver focused on the road, be sober, obey the speed limit, yada, yada. Okay. Now, the guy sitting riding shotgun with you, the co-pilot.
Yeah.
First off, must possess mad DJ skills.
Right, yeah, he's in charge of the radio.
Yeah, can't have anyone playing crap on the radio.
Yeah, he's in charge of the radio.
Yeah, that causes accidents and stuff like that. Yeah. Okay. That same guy in the front seat there he's the navigator.
Yes, he needs to know where we're going and how to get there.
And do not tell me, turn here as we're driving by the place.
Yes.
You got to warn me way in advance of that. Yeah. All important role of the front seat passenger or co-pilot in charge of the temperature control on the air conditioner.
That's another one, yes.
Okay.
Especially now since there's a separate setting for the driver.
Yes.
And the shotgun person.
Yeah, there you go. Now, also, he's the designated texter if you need to send a text message. That's not up to you. Okay, now.
You know what?
Yeah.
He's not texting anything from my phone. I can tell you that right now.
Now, people in the backseat have responsibilities, too.
No sleeping.
Yeah, well, none. Unless you're an obnoxious jerk, then go ahead and pass out. Backseat passengers are in charge of snackage.
Right, and there's a certain dance you got to do to pass the snacks from the back seat to the front seat.
Also making faces at snot-nosed kids in other cars and asking, are we there yet, is required. If there is
these are adults.
Yeah, well, the same thing.
Okay.
If there's a baby or a puppy in the car, they're in charge of that.
Yeah, you bet.
And babies and puppies are the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
24/7 care there.
Right. So they're in charge of changing diapers or letting everybody know the dog needs to poop.
Yeah.
Okay. So do we all understand our responsibilities now?
We do.
Okay.
It should be pretty self-explanatory.
I would think so, yeah. So let's all have a good, safe road trip and no annoying the driver.
None.
None whatsoever. Okay, get out there.
All right, didn't take very long for the Wyoming Cowboy men's basketball program to find a new head coach. They hired Gillette, Wyoming native Sundance Wicks, who replaced Jeff Linder, who was going to Texas Tech, as an assistant coach. And Wicks was an assistant at UW under Linder for 3 seasons. And Wicks took the Wisconsin Green Bay head coaching job and turned that Moore-Brown program around with an 18-14 record this past season. They won just 3 games the season before. Wicks was a phenomenal prep athlete at Campbell County High School, winning 2 state championships in basketball, another one in football, and was the state champion in 4A in the 300-meter hurdles in track and field. So maybe Jeff Linder is going to do Wyoming a favor here by leaving for Texas Tech. UW gets a native son who has been successful. Now the real work for Wicks begins, and that is recruiting. Linder signed 3 guys out of the transfer portal, and with the coaching change, those guys went right back into the portal. And they could return to UW, but the Cowboys need players. They need good players, and they need them now. In the NBA playoffs, the Denver Nuggets will be at home tomorrow to take on Minnesota in Game 5 of their Western Conference series. The Nuggets have shown a lot of resolve here. They were down 2-0 in that series, losing both games at home, and then posted 2 wins on the road. Yesterday's final was 115-107. Aaron Gordon had 27 points for Denver, and league MVP Nikola Jokic had 35 points, 7 rebounds, and 7 assists. In the Stanley Cup playoffs in hockey, the Colorado Avalanche in action tonight. At home taking on the Dallas Stars. The Avalanche, after winning the first game of the series, have dropped the next 2, 4-1 and 5-3. So this is really a must-win situation for the Avalanche. High school track and field, the state meet will start on Thursday in Casper and run through Saturday. The 4A East regional meet was in Cheyenne over the weekend. Talia Morris of Cheyenne East won 3 events, the 100, the 200, and the long jump. The Sheridan girls placed first, with East 3rd, Natrona 4th, Laramie 5th, Cheyenne Central 6th, and Cheyenne South 8th. On the boys' side, Angel Larry and Chance Morris of Sheridan won 2 events each, as the Bronx placed first in the team standings in that deal. Cheyenne Central was 2nd, Natrona 3rd, Laramie 6th, Cheyenne East 7th, and Cheyenne South 8th. The 4A West regional track meet was in Rock Springs over the weekend. The Kelly Walsh girls took first in the team standings. Star Valley's Valerie Jurek won 3 events. She is a Duke University signee. And the Cody boys placed first at that regional, with Kelly Walsh taking 3rd. And that's it in sports.
So UW is going to have everything in place for football, right?
Well, we're talking about basketball.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So one person leaves, another one steps in. I think it'll be a pretty smooth transition for Sundance Wicks. He was with the program for 3 years. Wyoming native. I mean, he's brown and gold the whole way. Okay. And I think that's what Wyoming needs right now. If he, stays a while, which you never know in college athletics, but he could provide some stability and hopefully can recruit some players to come to Laramie and stay for more than a cup of coffee.
But the question remains, are they going to be ready in time? That's what
they'll be ready, yeah.
Oh, they'll be ready. Okay. All right. Thank you, Frank. Coming up on some local business we got to take care of. We're going to roll into news time after that. National local update on the weather forecast. Wake up, Wyoming.